Oh shit, more good cartoons. So I've actually had this show on my radar for a good while. I don't know exactly how long, but definitely at least before it ended. And I was not disappointed, even though I was also I've been, looking forward to it a little bit, because I don't even know what I specifically heard that made me interested in it. Probably a bunch of little things. And there were some like good lines I'd seen from the show before, but seeing them in context was nice. And yeah, this is a good one, and I can see myself liking it even more the more I watch. Like it kind of even starts out like going like, okay, this is good because like it just like I think a character asks, okay, what is a day in the life of Bojack Horseman like, and then it goes into the opening, which is just a day in the life of Bojack Horseman, and I was like, oh, that's what, okay, yeah, that's good, cool, I like it. I guess one thing I wanted to say about the show is that like, well, I do find it funny, which is good because if it it is like there's a drama to it, and people have remarked it on being like depressing, and there's a couple of moments that indeed like fuck. I only watched the first 2 seasons so far, but it's like the fact that they're just animal people living with humans and they don't explain it at all. In fact, the one time they do explain something, they explain why they still eat chicken, and oh no, there's a difference between chickens who are friends and chickens who are food, and it's like, holy shit, that's kind of fucking horrifying. But it's also to play into the comedy and also the plot of that episode, because usually how they do the animal stuff is like they'll just do a gag related to the fact that a character is an animal. Like you'll usually see like raccoon hobos in the background, like looking through trash. Or there was one scene where they're like at a bar or restaurant, and a character orders steak, and the waitress, who is a cow, like the guy looks really like ashamed, and she just like shakes her head like in disappointment. It's just shit like that. Or one scene that I saw before where one character comes up to Bojack and we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and then for reasons there was that it like zooms out and there's like an elephant workman like in the room on top on top of something he was working on, and he just gets really fucking offended and like leaves. And I saw that one before and I thought it was pretty funny, but seeing it in context was even funnier because like I didn't remember when it happened, and it did happen. So the way it just kind of like happens, and that's what's funny about it, because like I think it's a really good creative choice to have them be animals, because it kind of I guess that abstraction helps like detract from just how like real and dark it can be. Like Bojack's, he's this fucked up alcoholic, depressed, makes regular bad decisions, but he's also like a cartoon horse, so it's a little easier to watch, if that makes sense. Like there's some sex stuff that happens, and it's kind of weird to see happen, but I guess like it's able to be more palatable because like I don't know, it's a goofy cartoon horse. But anyway, like because it doesn't come up that often, like most of the time they're just treated like Bojack's talking to like Todd, and he's a human and Bojack's a horse, and it maybe sometimes comes up, but it's usually in like little gags or stuff. So it's like, but most of the time Bojack's on screen, he's just like a character, he's a person. And so because it's not called attention to like constantly, I guess that when it does bring it up, it's just like it just hits you with it, like they'll be a character and they're just an animal. And then and then just the humor in general, it's very like dry, and it just kind of like goes. And the ability to balance between like comedy and more, even if I'd say it's definitely more comedy overall, because like that's most of the show is just the gags and stuff. But it does get into the like, and sometimes there's jokes that are just really fucking dark. Like there's one, I guess I thought it was amusing even though I didn't laugh, because it was just so like so there's Bojack was talking to someone, and oh, we can't let the baby bird leave the nest early. And then Bojack's like, yeah, I know what that's about. And then it cuts, and he's like with a bird lady looking out a window, and she's like, oh god, I thought he was ready. And you hear like an ambulance in the background, and he's like, it's not your fault. And I'm just like awestruck, because I'm like, because it's so fucked up. Like, yeah, some child just jumped to their death, and or at least injury, and Bojack, it's not your fault. And I'm just like it's so absurd, and the like I can see why it's amusing, but also I'm not laughing because it's just a little dark, and I'm just like torn between like should I laugh or not, because like it's definitely the way it's like framed as a cutaway. It definitely feels like it should be a joke, but also like goddamn. And now thinking back, it is like the show is really well written, even just like the wordplay, like even the fact that Bojack is just very like, you know, he was on a comedy sitcom in the 90s, and he cares a lot about wordplay because, you know, there are a lot of horse puns and stuff in the show, and he just like values that. And which was interesting contrast to Mr. Peanut Butter, who was on a ripoff show of his show, and he's like, so he just does wordplay because Bojack does it, but also he's terrible at it, and so like things don't make sense. And not that things make sense in the show all the time either. Like there's the Christmas special, which is just kind of like, mostly it is like, this is what an episode of the show is like, and with sometimes occasional commentary by Bojack and Todd, who are watching it. And you know, you see that, okay, yeah, sometimes like Bojack would say something, and then, or the character the horse would say something, and Bojack would be like, what? Like, what is it supposed to be? Like, what was he thinking at the time? And there's even a joke like, we were all on fucking cocaine. It's the 90s, 80s, late 80s, early, I forget exactly when the show aired because it went for 9 seasons, but a fictional show within the show, obviously. Speaking of Mr. Peanut Butter, I have to say, like, I was pretty surprised by him, because early on, like, you know, he kind of, you know, seems like a very non-genuine character. Like, he's like everyone's best friend. He's you know, he's got the ripoff show. He's just in general kind of like lifts things from other people. Like in the first couple episodes, he has this like, oh, every time he meets Bojack, he's like, hey, is this a crossover episode? And Bojack gets like, because he's been saying this for years. And then, of course, in season 2, there's an episode with another showman guy, and he's the one who, like, he just walked up to them meeting for the first time, and he said, oh, what is this, a crossover episode? And Mr. Peanut Butter loved it, so he stole it for the next, like, fucking 20 years. But yeah, and I thought, like, a character who, like some of his bigger, genuine moments were, like, on screen, like, or in front of a camera, rather, so it's, like, it's almost like he was playing them up for the drama, the reality show aspect. But so far, he's also just been like he's an idiot. But he's also somehow, even though he is like this product of, you know, the Hollywood system of being this like bro, like kind of you know, friendly guy. But he's also actually just legitimately like friendly, and part of it is because he's stupid. But I was just surprised at how like likable he was, when at the start I thought, oh yeah, this guy, he's gonna be a fuckhead. But no, he's just stupid and a dope, even though he's also like and he manages to like have like an interesting like how he's both genuine and fake at the same time, and in different ways. And I was like, huh. I came away from these 2 seasons like thinking like, damn, I didn't trust you, but I guess you're a good dog, at least at the end of season 2. Good boy. Oh, and I guess going back to animal stuff, like because he's one of the more recurring characters, and also I guess dogs are really like familiar to people. So like the way he like gets excited every time he hears a doorbell, or there was a party and Diane was popping balloons and he was getting like jumpy at everyone. And just and like they're having a serious conversation, but also like every time a balloon is popped, he's like, oh fuck. And it's so fucking funny. Like one of the funniest episodes of the show was probably like I'm just gonna say that it involved bringing up autoerotic asphyxiation, and just where some of the writing comes in, they just like the characters come up with so many different ways to describe it. Like Bojack even has one that I think I lost my shit for like a minute or so because I had to pause the episode, and Bojack's like, the funky Spider-Man, I came up with that one myself because he hangs and sprays, and I'm like, what? And I just lost my mind because it was so fucking funny. And God. But yeah, I'm not sure how much specifics I have to say. I will go into spoilers. I've already spoiled some jokes, but like there's a lot of other good humor too. Anyway, spoilers. God, as far as the sad stuff, anytime one of Bojack's parents is on screen, Jesus fuck. Like holy shit. like every line his mom said to him as a kid about how like, oh, you ruined my life, you don't deserve to be happy, or he's just actual or horse garbage, I guess. And one of the more depressing episodes, like I think I need to check, but I think this aired before like there was a big thing with Hollywood and a bunch of people got called out at once, with the sexual abuse allegations and the like. And there was an episode where Diane was aware of the allegations, and she simply brought them up in an interview, and then it became this whole thing where, oh, she's going against this beloved Hollywood type who allegedly, well, I never say what he allegedly did, but it seems to be sexual. Again, especially because like if this did happen before the all the big ones came out, then like damn. But that one was definitely where I got like sad, because it's like you see, she's trying, but like the systemic issue runs so deep. Like her husband, Mr. Peanut Butter, works in showbiz, and the hippo guy was legitimately powerful enough to fuck with that. And so like, even though obviously what he did was wrong, like Diane's kind of has like no allies, because it's all too, the industry is just too incestuous, and it's all fucked, and nothing was able to be done. And I was just like, fuck, because it was too real is the thing. And that's the thing with the show, I guess, is it can just get too fucking real. Like I wouldn't say I relate to Bojack super hard yet, because just some of the things, but like he's still like a really good character. And actually one moment I did like, this one got me to cry a little bit, is because in season 2 when he was shooting the Secretariat movie, and he shot the scene with the director, she was able to help, she thought she needed him to cry, but he didn't, and because he can't cry in front of other people, because of his upbringing. And then after the shot, he was like, I didn't cry, and she explains that it was fine. And also she said like Bojack was like, yeah, I told, or he said something about like how, he was insisting that, oh, yeah, I could do it, right? And like, as if she didn't believe in him. And she said that like, I knew you could, like, that's why she was interested in him for the role, because like she saw this potential in Bojack as an actor that, he had to find himself. And like after saying that he couldn't cry in front of other people, he goes out to get a smoke, and that's when he cries. Is like not when he gets told that he's not worth anything, or that he even that he outlived expectations. Is that the director did have expectations for him, and he was able to meet them. Like the positive thing got to him harder, and fuck me, like, oh god. And then a couple episodes after that, he went to New Mexico with Charlotte and got in with it. Like, I'm just waiting for it to go bad, because, like, obviously for the show to work, he has to go back to LA, and it's probably not going to be on good terms. And then like, oh no, the daughter, she's ready. No. And Bojack's at least turning her down, but then, fuck. I guess, do I have more to say? Because I could just bring up more moments and stuff that I like. Who are the other characters I haven't talked about? Princess Carolyn is fine. Diane's fine. I like her. Todd had some good stuff, especially like in the last episode where Bojack sort of like, is able to pull him out of the improv cult. That was some good stuff. Like, the last scene of the show was one that I'd already seen. Like, I recognized the monkey guy who was always running throughout this, like, around, in the neighborhood, from, I just seen a series of images of him saying the lines he gave at the end of the season. But seeing those lines, like, after, like, having the full context of the season in mind, with, Bojack trying to change at the start of the season, not being able to, but then, like, he has been able to, like recognize, like, how Todd, has been important to him, and, like, what is... letting you stay at my home has been the only good thing I've done on purpose. And then, of course, at the lines at the end where it's like, it gets easier. It's hard to do every day, but it does get easier. And it's just like, as a good way to cap off the whole, like, just his struggle in general with the, depression and trying to improve. And like, I don't think I've struggled with depression, but I can't imagine it being easy. And that, like, I don't know, I really like the line even before I watched the show, and seeing it end the show, it just like right at the end, like yeah, good. I'm really looking forward to more. I've seen I have a website which catalogs to catalog all the episodes of television I've watched, and I've seen some comments of people saying seasons 3 and 4 were depressing, and I'm like, oh shit, here we fucking go. And I think this is the the weird thing about BoJack, I guess, is like it's not the highest rated thing like on the backlog builders that I give, like, but I can see it also going up for sure. And also, it's the one thing I want to watch the most. Like, even when watching Hajime no Ippo, like, I was really into Hajime no Ippo, but I never had, like, oh, yeah, I should watch, should I watch more of that before it gets voted on for the backlog builder? Where now, with BoJack, I'm like, I kind of want to watch more. Like, I have other stuff to read and watch, which is the one thing that will probably keep me from it, but, you know, if I were to just watch seasons 3 through 6, would anyone would I don't know, because like a good show, good fucking show. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm very much looking forward to more.